shoot, I said that you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalker, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, what said that you claim?
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Now, today is Friday Junior, Thursday, if you will, Thor's Day for some, just a day before the weekend for most. Now, I know this is your first time finding me, and if it's your first time finding me, well, you met your new best friend. If you love Xbox, you love me, because I am the King. And I want you to accept my invitation to become a sub. Like, follow, and sub, and I drop videos daily. Now, I'm still on Japan time, and I'm trying to get it together, but I'm doing a whole bunch of NDA stuff in the background as I continue to work hard for the people. Now, we all know Fight Night Friday is tomorrow, and I will be an absolute idiot if I didn't capitalize on what Xbox has in store for you. Now, if you're a fan of the Invincible TV show, series, TV show, comic book, you know exactly who Cecil is. And today, Cecil was unveiled. Without further ado, I give you my man, Cecil.
God damn it. I'm in charge of the most ridiculous bunch of super-powered morons. God, they're fucking children. Always complaining and fighting amongst themselves. And leave me to clean up after. Lucky me. Fuck you, Nolan.
Fuck you, Cecil.
Gotta keep you on your toes.
Put him to bed.
Gotcha! Go! My time is valuable. Lights. Stand up just for you. I'm here. Gotta keep you on your toes.
Put him to bed.
Go!
Here we go.
Stop right there. Do it.
Now, wasn't that amazing? Wasn't that spectacular? Didn't it get your juices flowing? Aren't you ready for Fight Night Friday tomorrow at Frontline Gaming Streams? Now, I haven't got a chance to do anything on Frontline Gaming Streams since I've been back, but tomorrow we will get right back at it. We will get right back at beating each other up, having a great time, gaming with each other on Frontline Gaming Streams. If you don't know about that channel, go over there and sub. We do big things. We're working daily. But the 10th generation seems like it's about to heat up. And we have Magnus versus hashtag no PlayStation 6. You know what it is. I'm going to run it up on these bums. I'm going to keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. Now, like I told you before, the PlayStation 6 is in research and development, while the Xbox Magnus is a little further along, full steam ahead. But we have information on both. Now, that's brought to you by Moore's Law is Dead. Now, what I will do is have the link in the description to go to his fine channel so you can see all the information that he drops in its entirety. But PlayStation did something today. And I said, you know what? I will be an absolute idiot if I didn't grab all that information and bring that right back to you. Now, in his own words, Mark Cerny sits down and talks to you. Now, it's the same guy that brought you wonderful words like flopflation and catchphrases like, give me your ears. So, without further ado, I want to bring you into the world, which is King David. Now, we're going to start off with PlayStation because I felt that PlayStation had to bend his knee to its overlords. And if you didn't understand what I'm talking about, I want you to see, because I'm going to break it down in a way other people just might not do it. But I'm here for all of it because I'm the king and I do what I please on my channel. Let's get to it. Hey, Mark, I hope you're ready. Yeah.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this. What's up, Mitch?
We've been working on some seriously cool gaming tech with Sony, and I couldn't think of a better person to walk us through it than my good friend, Mark Cerny. Mark, thank you so much for coming out to Austin.
My pleasure.
I've asked Mark to join me to pop open the box and give you a peek at some of the gaming breakthroughs we've been working on together behind the scenes.
Yes, we've been busy.
Now, for a little context, Mark Cerny has came up with his own upskilling solution, the pisser, if you will, PlayStation, Spectral, Rasterization, whatever the hell, the pisser. It's in the PlayStation 5 Pro. And it doesn't seem to be popular with developers. It doesn't seem to be popular with anyone. Actually, a lot of people turn it off in order to get better performance. And what they realized is from the metrics and from the data that they can actually see, because remember, all your PlayStations is online, they could tell when somebody chooses FSR over the pisser. And overwhelmingly, FSR has been kicking the pissers behind. So instead of fighting them, PlayStation decided to join with the overlords, which they are beholden to, which is AMD, and bend the knee. This is a capitulation video. This is a video in which Mark actually bends the knee to AMD, live, if you will, to introduce exactly what AMD, with a little bit of help from Sony, is bringing to everyone. So that's the backstory to what you're watching.
Yes, we've been busy, that's for sure. So today it seemed like it might be fun to share a bit about the brand new technologies being developed, starting with our collaboration under Project Amethyst to create the machine learning technologies of the future.
As every gamer knows, it takes a complex set of system expertise to get your setup and games to deliver the highest possible experience.
See, that's a disarming technique, as every gamer knows. Every gamer doesn't know anything. The majority of the gamers are just simple-minded consumers that just want to play a game. Stop insulting my intelligence.
As we progress together, the future brings us to real-time physics, cinematic lighting, efficient asset streaming, and keeping everything in sync across a CPU and GPU with super low latency. Trying to brute force that with raw power alone just doesn't scale. That's why we're combining traditional rasterization with neural acceleration. And machine learning isn't just a neat trick anymore. It's become a real tool for developers. Smarter pipelines, cleaner visuals, smoother gameplay, and more headroom to create the worlds we want to all get lost in. And that's what FSR is all about.
What you will see in this video is that the pisser, PlayStation's fumble, is trying to associate itself desperately with FSR. It tried to build a better mousetrap, not knowing that the mousetrap manufacturer set a trap for the mouse, and that was Sony. So in this video, you're going to see a lot of trying to associate the pisser with FSR.
FSR and PSR actually come from deep co-engineering between Sony and AMD. Co-engineering the neural networks that power both technologies. And going forward, more and more what you see on screen, the detail, the fidelity, the atmosphere, it will be touched or enhanced by ML. And that means we're not just hitting new technical benchmarks, we're getting closer to the vision of the artists and creators behind the games.
And the challenge comes in how we implement these systems. The neural networks found in technologies like FSR and PSSR are incredibly demanding on the GPU. They're both computationally expensive and require speedy access to large amounts of memory. The nature of the GPU fights us here. It's made up of a large number of compute units, and problems are therefore typically broken up into bite-sized pieces to enable the individual compute units to tackle them. And there's a downside to that. Subdividing a problem can cause inefficiency, or even force us to give up and find a different approach.
Exactly.
No, what you would see later on is that's $1 billion problem. You had a budget, and in that budget, you had to work with what you had, and you had to figure out solutions instead of brute force it. You will see a $1 trillion company's solution to what Mark is talking about to $1 billion solution to what Mark is talking about. As Microsoft just goes bigger, Sony decides to fool the public with machine learning, upscaling, and resolution and frame generation trickery to get a result that is not native.
Exactly. And that challenge got us thinking. And what came out of it is something we're calling neural arrays. Here's the idea. Instead of having a bunch of compute units all working on their own, we built a way for them to team up, to actually share data and process things together like a single focused AI engine. Now, we're not linking the entire GPU into one mega unit. That'll be a cable management nightmare. But we are connecting CUs with each shader engine in a smart, efficient way. And that changes the game for neural rendering. Bigger ML models, less overhead, more efficiency, and way more scalability as workloads grow.
Neural arrays will allow us to process a large chunk of the screen in one go. And the efficiencies that come from that are going to be a game changer as we begin to develop the next generation of upscaling and denoising technologies together.
With neural arrays, we're unlocking a whole new level of performance for ML, not just faster, but more capable. That means better FSR, better ray regeneration, and brand new ML power features we're just starting to imagine.
With that being said, that right there was the part of the video where better FSR means the death of the PSSR. You understand? The pisser is over with, and they're moving forward and burying the stench, just like they did Concord, right in front of your very eyes. But they're doing it live on TV. Remember, the whole world is a stage, and you are watching Sony play their greatest performance.
All working in real time, right on the GPU. And we're just getting started. As we look ahead, you also see dedicated innovations that bring cinematic rendering to an entirely new level.
Another area we've been focusing on has been ray tracing. When I look at its broad usage on PlayStation 5 for reflections, shadows, and global illumination, it's difficult to believe that it's been just 5 years since ray tracing was introduced.
Definitely, Mark. And now with path tracing becoming more central to real-time graphics, the demands on...
I love how he comes out every time Mark has done something, and he comes out and he just stomps Mark in the chest. Like, because PlayStation was running around with this ray tracing, and AMD has always told you path tracing was the way. But this is another bend the knee moment in this video where path tracing has become more central to the idioticness that you chose with ray tracing. Remember that? Remember?
The demands on GPU just continue to grow. That's why we've been pushing hard to go beyond the current approach to help developers bring even more realism and cinematic lighting into their games.
But the challenge is that the current approach has reached its limit. To perform ray tracing today, a shader program has to juggle two very different responsibilities. One is ray traversal, digging through complex data structures to locate where the millions of rays being cast hit the millions of triangles in the scene geometry. When there are intersections, that same shader program has to also be doing its usual work of shading the scene, using texture and lighting information and the like.
And we spent the past 2 years rethinking the entire path tracing pipeline from hard...
Again, Mark is still stuck on this damn ray tracing. Wow, this guy's telling him, bro, it's path tracing. Give it the program, bro. We don't care about that damn ray tracing.
From hardware to software. Earlier this year at Computex, we introduced neural radiance caching, a key part of FSR Redstone. Now, we're building on that with Radiance Cores, a new dedicated hardware block designed for unified light transport. It handles ray tracing and path tracing in real time, pushing line performance to a whole new level. Together, these form a brand new rendering approach for AMD. Radiance Cores takes full control of ray transversal, one of the most compute-heavy parts of the process. And that frees up the CPU for geometry and simulation, and lets the GPU focus on what it does best, shading and lighting. The result? A cleaner, faster, and more efficient pipeline built for the next generation of ray trace games.
There's a significant...
In other words, I told your ass my solution was best, but you're back, and now I gotta sun you in front of the world.
There's a significant speed boost that comes from putting the traversal logic in hardware, and a further boost that comes from having that hardware operate independently from the shader cores. On top of those performance increases, there's other features in the works too, such as flexible and efficient data structures for the geometry being ray traced. Overall, I'm really looking forward to the time when we can get Radiance Cores into the hands of game creators.
And we're excited to see how developers push ray tracing and path tracing even further with these tools. And here's the thing, whether it's ML or ray tracing, they both hit the same bottleneck. Current GPU memory bandwidth limitations hinder the seamless adoption of next-gen rendering techniques, requiring significantly more bandwidth to handle 4K plus textures and ray tracing denoising masks for smooth asset streaming. And that's where a final piece of news comes in, and yeah, it's a big one.
With current GPUs, including the ones in PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro, we have something called DCC, or Delta Color Compression. It's a strategy that reduces the memory bandwidth consumed when the GPU is reading or writing certain data, such as textures or render targets.
Yo, this is the part where I understood that everything that Mark brings, like his solutions, this guy is going to be like, nah, your joint is whack. We got this other thing that's better than what you was trying to do. That's why you sitting here. This is crazy.
And what we built for future GPUs and SoCs take the idea of data compression much further. We call it universal compression. It's a system that evaluates every piece of data headed to memory, not just textures, and compresses it whenever possible. Only the essential bytes are sent out, which dramatically reduces memory bandwidth usage. That means the GPU can deliver more detail, higher frame rates, and greater efficiency.
Here too,
I was right. I was right. Everything I say is right.
Here too, I'm really looking forward to what improvements universal compression will bring, and to what degree the effective bandwidth of the GPU will exceed its paper spec. There's a multitude of benefits from this, including lower power consumption, higher fidelity assets, and perhaps most importantly, the synergies that universal compression has with neural arrays and radiance cores, as we work to deliver the best possible experiences to gamers. Overall, it's of course still very early days for these technologies. They only exist in simulation right now, but the results are quite promising, and I'm really...
Hashtag no PlayStation 6. We're gonna run it up on these bumps. I'm gonna keep the boot on connect this whole generation. You do this only in simulations. We're thinking in theory that we could basically bring stuff about. If you really look close at you jerks think this thing is close. You have no goddamn idea how far away it is. Oh, God.
And I'm really excited about bringing them to a future console in a few years' time.
We feel the same way, Mark, and we're so excited to bring these innovations to developers across every gaming platform.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
That technology for everybody, son. He set your ass up. He put you in front of everybody to say every gaming platform, including Xbox. Continue to make the next learning upscaling technologies for everyone, including every platform, including Xbox. The platform that will be out before you, that will be more powerful, that won't be able to what? How would you say, just cut corners to get to where they need to get to? The Magnus is on its way, sir. Prepare your anus. Pause.
Platform. Because this isn't just about silicon, it's about empowering the creators and communities that make gaming what it is. And we're just getting started. As we continue building with close partners like Sony, everything we're doing is focused on one thing, pushing games forward for all of you. Gaming has always been at the heart of what we do, and it's never meant more than it does right now. We're here for the players, the creators, and the communities that make this industry matter. And everything we're building is for you. Thank you, Mark, so much for taking time to join me here today.
Thank you, Jack.
Now that you sat through that AMD's infomercial for the next FSR with Sony capitulating and bending the knee, with kind of talking about what they're trying to do in theory and in a simulation with the PlayStation 6 hashtag no PlayStation 6, it's just a simulation. I'm gonna run it up on these bums. I'm gonna keep the boot on Kong's neck this whole generation. Let's get into what Moore's Law has to say about the future of Xbox, where Xbox is going. And yes, sir, this is real silicon that is not in theory, not in simulation, that is in, what can we say, far past research and development? Can we say in active, probably, if you will, manufacturing? So when people tell you that Costco's removing Xboxes off the shelf, yeah, stupid, it's because the new one is coming. If you want to buy an Xbox, go direct from Microsoft. They got them.
Finally, a worthy opponent. The battle will be legendary.
This is AMD Magnus, the APU slated to go into the next-gen Xbox, and it will be the largest APU used in a gaming console in history. Seriously, as covered in a leak a few months ago, it will total roughly 408 millimeters squared. That's about 13% larger than both the Xbox Series X and the Xbox One X's die size, and it is a 46% larger die than the monolithic one that will be used in the PlayStation 6 home console. So yeah, it should be stronger than the PS6. But at the same time, it will also be more expensive because of this larger size and its use of bridge dies and likely a larger RAM capacity compared to the PS6, at least if it wants to work well as a PC console hybrid. But you know what? That's okay, I think, because this time around, Xbox is going to be much more than a console. It should also be something that can run more than just Xbox apps and challenge the PC gaming market, at least somewhat directly. Right. AMD Magnus, the APU, and the next generation Xbox console. So it will be composed of two chiplets. One of them is a 144mm squared SoC die that will be made on TSMC N3P. And I actually have seen N3P specifically mentioned in documentation by now, so I do believe that's the node it is using. And it's an SoC die in that it has the CPU cores, the video out, and the AI engine. Now, in addition to that, of course, it is connected to a 264mm squared GPU die. This is the die that will be shared with desktop Radeon products, and that will be on either N3C or N3P. I still haven't heard firmly which one they're going to go with for the desktop Radeon APU chiplets. And in total, comes to 408mm squared. Now, as for TDP, I believe, and it is just a belief, that they will target around 250 to 350 watts. So you're still looking at something that's like, I don't know, 20 to like 60-70% more power consumption than actually the PS6. So a lot more power than the PS6, but I still believe they will try to get this within form factors that can be considered traditional consoles. So using more energy than a PS4 or a PS6 for sure, but probably not using radically more energy than like a launch PS3 at peak power usage or something. They're going to want this to be cost effective and not chug too much energy. That is my belief though. I don't know that for sure. Next, it will have 68 RDNA 5 compute units disabled down from a maximum of 70. I've seen speculation out there. Technically I've already confirmed 70 CUs, but I'm going to do it again here. 70. 100% sure. Multiple sources. People speculating that it's 72 or something. Wrong. It's 70 compute units, right? And then they disabled 2 of those. Now, that is comprised, and this is really interesting about RDNA 5, of 4 shader engines. Most console gamers, you can ignore this section, but for the technical PC enthusiast dorks out there, a lot of you I think will find this fascinating. I have had this verified by multiple sources. 4 shader engines, 3 of the shader engines, like 3 of the quadrants of the design have 9 work groups, that means 18 compute units, and then there's another lopsided shader engine with just 8 work groups or 16 compute units. And each of these shader engines has 2 shader arrays. Now, I can't tell you much more than that, but it does seem like there's something going on here with however they've designed RDNA 5. I believe they've already talked about that they can do this with previous RDNA generations as well, but like they can have lopsided shader engines. You don't have to have everything symmetrical, and it won't be with Xbox Magnus. Now, the GPU will have at least 24 megabytes of L2 cache. I'm just basing that on what I've seen from desktop Radeon graphics cards that will share this chiplet. I don't know the maximum amount of L2, but it will have 24. By the way, for those keeping track, 24 megabytes, that is almost 5 times the L2 that was in the Xbox Series X. And so while it does not have infinity cache, it has wildly more L2 cache and much faster RAM. And so I do not think this thing will be bandwidth constrained at all. It has effectively just a boatload more bandwidth than the current generation of consoles. Now, one thing that they didn't go insane with, although I do think will be more than enough for PC gaming, is they have 3 Zen 6 cores. Now remember, these are 3 nanometer N3P cores. These won't be clocked as fast as the N2X desktop, cores that will be found in like $800 gaming processors, but they're still going to be pretty fast. They get 3 of those. They will be faster than the ones in the PlayStation 6 Orion or the handheld. And then we'll also have 8 Zen 6C cores with 12 megabytes of L3. Now I say up to, by the way, because I don't know if one of the Zen 6 nor one of the Zen 6C cores, or maybe one of each, are disabled. I do think there's a chance that it will be in total a 9-core CPU that's just faster than the 9 cores in the PS6, but technically it could be up to 11. I don't know if they disable any of the CPU cores, although I did know that they disable part of the GPU. And then the memory controller, 192-bit memory bus with up to 48 gigabytes of GDDR7. For those keeping track, that means that I believe they could go with probably 24 or like 36 or 48 gigabytes of RAM, right? Yeah, I believe that's how that would work, right? Because, 24, 36, or 48. I would hope they go with 48 gigabytes of RAM because if this is meant to run PC games, you're going to want to, have something like, I don't know, like, what would that be, like 16 plus 32 for like 16 gigabytes of VRAM, 32 gigabytes of system. So that's what I hope they go with. But technically, I don't know the final RAM amount they will select, and they probably don't quite yet either. Now, this is interesting, and this might be unique compared to the PlayStations. This has an NPU, or AI engine, whatever you want to call it, with up to 110 tops when it's operating at 6 watts. But then it also has a low power NPU mode for 46 tops to still meet Microsoft Copilot requirements that uses much less energy at 1.2 watts. I'm not sure why they are worried about 2 power consumption modes, but I assume it has something to do with budgeting more energy for the NPU versus the CPU at times. And I don't know what they will do with this. And technically, if you think about the PlayStation 6 consoles, I still don't know 100% if they do or don't have an NPU. Although I've been talking with developers, and a lot of them think that it would make sense for the PlayStation 6 consoles to just, much like the PS5 Pro, have a ton of tops built into the GPU that it can run off of that, and that it doesn't need an NPU. I don't know. We'll find out. But what I do know is Microsoft has a fairly powerful, likely XDNA 3 NPU in Magnus, and so they will probably want to use that for running some operations in parallel to the GPU running the pixels. And then finally...
Well, there you have it. Both battle strategies laid bare right in front of you. One is going very, very high, very robust, very strong, And you could tell that is the $1 trillion company. And then you have the cost effective method, which is the $1 billion company trying to achieve the same outlook as the $1 trillion company. I think this is the part where Microsoft is actually taking the gloves off, if you will. The Magnus is an incredible prospect when you look at all the capabilities of the machine. But the machine itself is going beyond the regular console constraints. The machine itself is looking to larger pastures because Jim Ryan said it best. The console gamer is not enough. So this is why they looked at entertainment. This is why they looked at different ways to monetize the same consumer. And that showed to be futile. While Microsoft itself is moving into different areas with Play Anywhere, everything's an Xbox, and expounding on the greater sense of what it is to be a gamer, whereas traditional gaming and consoles is dwindling and the larger aspects of mobile gaming, PC gaming, tablets, and everything is exploding. Microsoft tends to be and wants to be at the forefront of all these innovations. While Sony is doubling down on its walled garden, and we can see those cracks in that wall, Microsoft is broadening their horizons. Well, you saw it today with AMD and Jack with FSR. That is for everyone, and that is going to benefit the next generation Xbox that definitely will have an MPU in the box, which is the largest MPU that would be on a console hybrid type device, with the PlayStation itself probably just going to do machine learning to keep the costs down. We're going to see a huge difference when it comes to the gaming in the future. So again, with the Xbox ROG Ally X releasing next week, with the initiative of Play Anywhere, back compat, and stream from your own library, Microsoft seems to be pushing ahead into where technology is going and where the forefront of gaming is, where the people are trying to distract from the fact that Game Pass is X amount of dollars. Again, you can't call somebody a broke gamer if they're gaming on the highest costly service in gaming. I think that's an oxymoron. Is kind of like jumbo shrimp, if you will. Doesn't make any sense. Is a contradiction within itself. You can't be broke and paying the most. But this is Xbox Frontline News. And I saw this as something that was absolutely incredible to bring to you guys. I know personally, as a gamer, I am looking forward to everything both of these guys do. And though I may joke around, I'm going to be in the know and gaming on all platforms, no matter where they are. But if you liked anything that you saw here, like, follow, and subscribe, become a member. And also, hang out with us tomorrow on Fight Night Fridays on Frontline Gaming Streams, where we aim to please. Now, I'm going to get back to my regularly scheduled program. I do apologize for these late videos. I will fix it for all my dog walking friends who listen to me while they walk their dogs at night. I'm sorry I got you off schedule. Hopefully, I can get right back on schedule, because trust me, being on this Japanese time is a little bit different. But I'm going to tell you to do what I try to do and what everybody loves to do, where gamers game and winners win. Try to play the Game Pass.